off the abilities.
Yeah, fire off all the
let's just
abilities.
get the demo first.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about
See
it.
how people notice stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, baby.
That one's cool.
Yeah.
Real Ama fans see that one right away.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so let's get into kind of what changed between Smite 1 and Smite 2 for Amaterasu.
She deals only physical damage, but she does have strength and int scaling.
Okay.
So she will play her traditional basic attack, solo laner, bruiser build very well still, but we kind of give her some new options for scaling that involve a more support style through tankiness and intelligence. Passive works the same as Smite 1. 3 attacks, making an AoE aura that makes people take damage from all sources.
Nice.
All right, so the new features for Amaterasu in Smite 2 are first on her ability 1, Divine Presence.
Okay.
So now there's an additional buff that players will get when the buff is activated. So you can see in the 2 bullet points, the gold buff will provide a health shield for 6 seconds and the persistent movement speed aura.
Okay.
And the red buff will provide a attack speed buff for 6 seconds and the persistent int and strength aura. So like we wanted to do something with the AO1 to make it a little bit more meaningful when you activated it.
Yeah.
So instead of just kind of spamming it on cooldown for the heal, or instead of kind of just like toggling it and leaving it in movement speed mode because that's OP, it still is OP. So it's still probably the right decision in some places. But we wanted to actually reward the Amaterasu players who were actually changing stances. And then so what it is, it's an instant AoE that hits you and your teammates at the moment you change stance.
Okay.
So if you hit a bunch of allies, you will give them this little health shield. It's a relatively small health shield, but it does scale off of Ama's max health. So if you're building more full tank Ama, which she can kind of be played as a fringe support, you're going to give people a bigger shield, and she also gets the shield as well.
Yeah.
Or when you're when you switch to red stance, you will give yourself and all allies around you an attack speed aura. So instead of just toggling to it early, you wait until everyone's grouped around the fire giant, then activate it, so you can get that attack speed burst and the int and strength burst from the AO1 aura. The other interesting thing about this AO1 aura on the red stance is that int and strength buff now scales up with intelligence.
Okay.
So if you build a tank and int aura, if you build like a tanky or intelligence build Amaterasu, you will get a better strength and int aura to give to your allies. So that's the difference on her ability 1. AO2, now the mitigations she gets while the mirror is charging scales up with intelligence. And the mirror damage also scales with strength and intelligence. Actually scales higher off intelligence. So if you're full int Ama, your mirror shots become like actual like mage abilities.
Are your damage. All right.
One other thing is there's a feels change on this one, which is we've allowed this to be fired a lot more quickly. There's some inconsistencies in Smite 1 that we've looked to resolve in Smite 2. So I can pretty reliably just quick fire this, which feels really, really good in practice. It lets you have a lot more control over this effect, which feels really nice.
Yeah, if you're looking for that enemy's getting away, you need that last second, last hit, you just fire it off real quick and have that under your belt.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Ability 3, not really any changes to ability 3. It's the silence. It's a line attack silence before, and then damage and stop on God dash afterwards. And the ultimate has the last new feature, which is the 3rd attack of the ultimate now hits a big circle sweep attack.
Yeah, the full swing.
Yeah. So you have to hit a god, just like Smite 1, you have to hit a god for it to progress to the next, or not a god, have to hit a target for it to progress to the next stance. It's going to do increasing damage from the first to second to third hit. It's going to do just damage, and then damage plus slow, and then damage plus stun on the 3rd hit. But now this 3rd hit is that full circle sweep. She might struggle a little bit in the early game or need the jungle to come by a few more times than another solo laner, but then you get to the mid to the late game, she's like a powerhouse.
Yeah, she pops up.
So we're really leaning into making sure her team fight in Smite 2 is like really memorable, and that's kind of like what sets her aside from the other warriors, the other solo laners, so they don't all feel